tell from the title of this video, we're gonna sit down and have a chat about my favorite items and things from this winter. For me, winter starts on the 1st of December, which is my birth month, and December always feels so magical, and the snowflakes falling from the sky feels like I'm in a fantasy book. So winter in general is very beautiful to me. So without further ado, let's start with the books that I enjoyed this winter. The first book on my list is M-Train by Patti Smith, and I read it in Turkish. Last month I finished all the Patti Smith books that I had on my collection, and I liked only 2 of them. You might know my overall idea about her books. I don't like them. I find them very boring and not enjoyable in general. But I liked only 2 of them. The first one being Just Kids and the second one being The M-Train. There are some aspects that I like too. For example, her traveling all alone and also cherishing the moments, the people that she had. And one of the most significant events in her life for me was the passing of her husband, and after this event she didn't lose the connection with her children, and she also continued her own life too. Overall, the themes in the book were pleasant to me, and that's why I'm including it here on my list. The second book on my list is Welcome to Hünamdong Bookshop, and I read it in Turkish too. And this book has all of the cozy vibes that you can imagine, and all these people are very calm. They're not trying to be someone else. They're all minding their own businesses. Also, another part that I liked was the coffee part, and how coffee was so important in this bookshop, even though the main focus of the shop is books, and how the business management was described in this one too, because at first the main character, I don't know her name, but she was new to this field of books and how she was trying to expand and improve her business. And when I was in university, I was also dreaming of having my own business and planning and managing everything on my own, but it didn't happen. So I liked someone else accomplishing their dreams. The next book on my list is The Last One on the Wedding by Jason Rekula. I read another book by the same author, and the genre is thriller, but it's not in a scary way. And the plot twists are very strange in these books, and someone described to you in one way turns out to be someone else in the end. And in this one, everything was very strange, and I had a hard time trying to capture this reality. And also there are some very different relationships in this book too, which might be disturbing to some people, and it would be disturbing to me if I read it last year. But I now learned to read books and listen to people without judging, and also if I don't like one aspect of it, there might be another aspect that I'm gonna like. So that was my point of view for this book. If you try to look at things objectively, there's always some parts that you're gonna like, and that's what happened with this one. The next book on my list is The Starless Sea, which I'm reading right now, and I'm around 100-ish pages. And as you can see, I haven't finished it, but I'm including it here because the story, the settings, the symbols in the book speak to me very well. And when I read this before going to bed, I have very interesting and magical dreams. You know, this book is from the author of The Night Circus, and it was one of the first fantasy books that I really liked. And There's something about fantasy genre that I don't like. The events being unreal and very unreal. There's always some magic, some magical creatures. But if the author manages to tell them, describe them in a believable way, I like this book. And that's what happened with the fantasy books that I really liked. And I'm still a bit judgmental about fantasy genre in general, but I try to read the synopsis of these books and try to find an aspect to like. And I don't have so much about the Starless Sea to say, but I know that it's gonna be one of my favorites of all the time. The last book on my list is, of course, The Journals of Sylvia Plath. I read this when I was in university. It was the Turkish translation and I borrowed it from the library of the school, so I didn't have so much time to read it. And when I read the book for the first time, it felt like I was reading my own journal. You know what I mean? Everything was so familiar. And actually I got a bit scared of this because we all know how Sylvia Plath's life ended and what unfortunate events happened to her. And I thought maybe that was my destiny too, but it isn't. I can assure you about this. And I never thought of owning a physical copy of this book. And recently I saw some YouTubers reading this book, a physical copy, and I searched for one and I got it. And fortunately, this edition is different from the Turkish one that I read in the past. This one has more content in it, and it's a very big book. Let's see how many pages. It is over 700 pages, and I think it's gonna be a very deep work for me to read this and analyze it. But I know I'm gonna like it, even though I haven't started it yet. The next part on my favorites list is TV shows. The first show is Young Sheldon, which I watched on Netflix. I started it in summer, but I finished it in winter. And I started it because the episodes were very short and I didn't need to pay so much attention to the storyline and the character developments. But in the end, when one of the favorite characters of mine died, I just couldn't recover from it for a week, I think, and I cried my heart out that night. It was a bit unpleasant that the series ended so suddenly and it didn't show what happened after this big event in the end. But I liked the old version of Sheldon, the man who played in The Big Bang Theory, how he was telling his story and how his recent life was. And I liked it most when he came back to his old house where his childhood took place, and seeing that man, I don't know his name, that actor with gray hair and being so old, also felt like I'm very old too now, because I was a little child when I was watching The Big Bang Theory. Everything is changing, the world is changing, and we are changing, and the stories that we tell are changing too. So we need to keep track of these things, in my opinion. The next TV show is Squid Game. I didn't watch the first season, but it was such a big sensation on the social media that I didn't need to. And I watched the season 2. And I didn't like the dystopian vibes in the first season, but in the second one, the player, I don't know his name and number, the one that is attending the games again, how he was trying to fight with the upper forces, the owners of the game, and also other players were helping him too, because money wasn't the most important thing in his life. Yeah, the game didn't matter to them at all. The next series is Queen of Tears. It is a K-drama, and I find its plot very different from other K-dramas because it wasn't that soapy and focused on love, interest. The struggles of the main characters were so real, especially the problems that the man had in his marriage and in their family life. Their family is very crowded, and he is living with the family of the girl. This is something unusual, both in Korean and Turkish culture. And even though so many things happen, so many people try to separate them, how they stick to each other, and after that one big, very bad event, how they continued their marriage. I loved these aspects of adult life actually, because I think now the soapy love stories of K-dramas are for young adults or maybe teenagers, but this series felt like it was exactly for adults. Adult themes aren't always bad things, but these struggles, these real life struggles about business, money, and popularity and marriage really spoke to me. The last TV show on my list is The Decameron. I read the book and I have a video about it on my channel. This show is very different from The Decameron. The backstories of the characters are very different. If you try to compare them, you're not gonna enjoy this show. And this is what I did at the beginning of the series. But then I started to try accepting this new version as a separate TV show or item. I started liking it even more, and it is actually very funny, and I'm glad that it is in English, it's not in Italian, because I don't like having subtitles or dubbing, and I had to watch it in its original language, and it would be very hard for me to follow it in Italian. Now, the next part is the items that I added to my collection, the things that I bought in general. The first one is accessories that I got for my vlogging camera, which is here. I didn't get the creator combo. I think I've never talked about this one on this channel. I didn't get the creator combo and all the accessories that it has. This one I have here has a part over here which I don't have right now, and with the help of this addition you can use tripods and many other accessories with it, but that part is actually that long, the total of these two items, and after that you add another tripod and it becomes so long and very hard to carry it around, and that's why I got these two new pieces. I don't know if we can see it. This is also a mini tripod, and look at this size. The last part of this video is the food that I like the most during the winter time. The first one is my first börek. I made it in one of my previous videos, and all the time being I thought making these flowery things was very hard and it was something only mothers can do. But when I tried it and I made it so good, I realized that it isn't that hard. Another food is the Swedish meatballs that I made. It is the sauce that makes it very special to me, and when I first tried it, it didn't turn out to be that good. It isn't that tasty when you fry the flour in a certain way. You need to mix it so well. You need to add the milk very carefully and slowly, and that's what makes it perfect for me. The next food is the kimbap rolls that I made in the last couple of weeks, I think. On that day, I was really craving it. Actually, there's nothing so special, so different about the taste of it and the ingredients of it. The only different thing is the seaweed, and I craved for the taste of seaweed that day. And I made so many of them, but I finished all of them in one sitting. It was like a professional person made them, and I couldn't believe the taste of it. The last food on my list is chocolate eclairs that I made. It wasn't that tasty because of some mistakes that I made. I added some raw eggs where I shouldn't have. But I like the concept of having chocolate and the baking part. Maybe in the future I can improvise on it and make a better version of it. That's all of my favorites for this winter. Thanks for watching up to this point. Let me know in the comment section below what are your favorite things that nobody else could understand why you're liking them. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you in the next one.